CaseCoach up next.
Hey everyone, this is Enguerrand. I'm the founder of CaseCoach. Thank you, Megan and Lisa, for organizing, and thank you, Bailey, for being on time. CaseCoach exists to help you prepare your students for case interview success. I was a manager at McKinsey, and for 8 years, I've been a headhunter for BCG, Bain, and McKinsey in London and Paris. And I cited CaseCoach basically because I was in a similar situation as you, which is was working really hard as a headhunter to, assemble a great group of candidates. So I wanted to make sure they had a real shot at the job by being very well prepared. And about 2.5 years ago, one of my clients, BCG, saw that our candidates were doing great. We placed 1 in 4 of the candidates that they interviewed. Overall at McKinsey Bain BCG, we placed more than 150 candidates. They said, look, like we're struggling in some areas of the firm because our candidates are not well prepared. We're interviewing people and we reject them not because they're not good, but because they've never seen this before. Can you help us? So that's how I created CaseCoach, with an online platform that provides everything to bring a student from zero to interview ready, as well as a coaching offering. And since then, we now have a global agreement with BCG covering their experienced hires, and we're also very present on campus. We work with 42 universities. I noticed that on this call we have Lyon, ESSEC, London Business School, which are all our clients. We in Europe, we also work with INSEAD, HEC, Oxford, Cambridge, IESE, and many universities in Asia, like Tsinghua or National University of Singapore, as well as in the US and Canada. So we're a really solid client base, and I think we're basically the top online preparation platform for case interviews. Let me know if you have any questions. Just drop them in the chat. But I'll basically give you a quick demo of what the platform looks like, and I'll start by sharing my screen. Up, here we go. So here I'm logged in as a student, and you will see that I have access to 2 courses. One is a resume course for MBA candidates, and another is the interview prep course. The resume course for MBA candidates is a pretty small course. It's really providing your students with everything they need to prepare a great cover letter and resume specifically for management consulting. So we share here some some insights, some templates, some example about what the firms are specifically looking for, what kind of achievements your students need to put on their CV, with example of all of that. But the main product is really the interview prep course. And here again, it's about bringing someone who has never heard about a case interview up to being, hired at Bain. And how does that work? So the first thing we have is video lectures on several topics: the case interview, alternative case formats, and the fit interview. So the case interview, obviously, it's interesting for management consulting, but not only. You have many employers, startups, financial services firms that are using case interview. And I would think that it's part of the toolkit that any MBA graduate should have. We also cover alternative case formats, and you might be familiar with some firms that are using estimation question of written cases, where they put your students in a room with a bunch of slides for an hour and a half, and they say, hey, analyze all of this and prepare your recommendation. So we prepare for that as well. And then we cover the fit interview. Obviously, many career services cover this as well. And here, it's very much focused on management consulting. So what McKinsey is looking for in the personal experience interview, how do you pitch yourself and your achievement in the context of management consulting? So what does those video lectures look like? First, we structure the course along the same dimension that are assessed by the firm. So if you are interviewing, you're going to be assessed by an interviewer who has a scorecard that will look somewhat like this, where they're going to rate your performance on structuring, math, judgment, insight, creativity, etc. So every firm has different word that they use, but this is what they're all looking for. The course is structured in the same way, which means that if you look at the video lectures, the chapters are structuring numeracy, judgment and insight, creativity, etc. So we are going to basically tell your students on each of those dimensions what it takes to do well. What are the firms looking for? what are some tips and techniques that you absolutely need to know? What are some mistakes to avoid? And we do this with video lectures that are just 10 minutes long on average. So very much straight to the point. And if you feel like, hey, there's actually more that you need to know to do well on structuring, well, we share with you a video on the top business framework so that you can learn how to grow a business and cut cost and enter a new market and all these things. Maybe there's some frameworks that you have, maybe you've missed your strategy class and you don't remember the Port of Five Forces or supply and demand, etc. So you have some additional videos that you might want to watch if you feel that you need to learn all these concepts. So that's the first step, which is, hey, you do have video lectures. Now, for many students, unless you see what it looks like in real life, it's not going to make sense. So here we have some interview videos with right now 13 real candidates went on to join McKinsey, Bain, BCG. These are people that we work with as headhunters. They're real people, and we interview them. We give them a case, and we comment on how they're doing. So we can see, what are the behaviors that your students should mimic, which are the things that they should avoid, and how does that work in real life? So that's a great resource. But now, if you want to do well in a case interview, it's all about practice. What we see is that your students will need to do at least 25 live cases before they actually get a chance of succeeding. So how do you do this? And the first thing is you need to find some partner to practice with. So sometime you might have some in your class. They will practice with their classmates. Other times they might say, hey, I'm interviewing with a firm in China, and I would like to practice with some people who speak Chinese. So here you can go to the practice room, and you will find other students who are practicing cases. And these are students that are 40 schools, or they're among the 5,000 or 6,000 students, and BCG sends us every year, which means the quality of the pool is really excellent. You can just go there, book time with them tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. if you want, and boom, you're going to have a one-on-one session. And after that session, you're going to share some feedback with each other, and that feedback will come into your area. I'm on a test account. I haven't done any practice session, but you will basically have a rating on each of the performance metrics that are assessed in a case. So you'll be able to track where you do well and where you can improve. Now, I've showed you the practice module where I see a bunch of people, but if I was a student at a specific school, I would have two sections here. One that shows all the students in my school that are interested in being there and practicing. And then I have another section that allows me to go out of the school. And you can really decide who you want to practice with and where you want to be visible as a student. I think last week we had 800 live practice sessions on the platform. So it's really, really busy. Now, to do some good practice, you need good case material. And we provide that as well. And that's actually the number one feature in terms of quality of feedback we're getting from our users. So here you can go to a case library and you will find 80 cases, all written by ex-McKinsey, Bain, BCG consultants, covering all sorts of industries and functions. So if you have students who are interviewing for a digital consulting role, an operation consulting role, a data science consulting role, they will find cases there that they can use for practice. They can just click on the case, they'll download it, there will be a clear script that they can follow, there will be the answer that we recommend for each of the questions, and it's going to make their practice much more valuable than if they use some random material that they downloaded on the internet. So that works really well. Now, they will realize at some point that maybe they're not so good at structuring or math. And again, let me show you if I can do that here. How that looks like. Here, I'm going to go back to my practice, and I'm going to show you on another account my performance. So here I realize, hey, maybe I need to improve my case leadership, or maybe my math is not so good. So what we offer there is some drills. So you can go back to the platform and, hey, you want to improve your math? Let's go for it, right? Let's do 3 minutes of operation. And I'm going to say that this one is going to, I'm not going to answer all those questions correctly, but you can basically practice your maths, and you're being measured not only whether your answers are right and whether your speed is good. You can review your results, right? And we offer the same with structuring as well as, sorry, I'm going back to the platform here, as well as with exhibits. So if I go here, I'm going to go to the structuring drills, which are going to move to another interface soon, but here I have another 50 or 60 case questions that I can work on my own. And I can structure, I can look at clarification, I can compare my answer with the answers here. You want to practice interpreting charts because that's a big part of case interview. Here you go. You have another 50 or 60 charts that you can interpret, compare your answer with the answer we provide. So once you have that, you really, as a student, have everything you need to do well. You have the video lectures. You have the example with real candidates who are doing an interview. You can practice and find other people to practice with. You can have you find a case material to do those practice sessions. Then when you want to improve on some specific dimensions, you have the drills. And I've showed you all of this on the case interview, but it's the same on the fit interview with the video lectures, etc. It's the same with the written case, where we have a library of written case that people can just download and practice on their own. That's a lot of slides, which is the point here. Now, we also offer our school an additional coaching service, which means that if they want to invite students to coaching with our former McKinsey, Bain, BCG consultants, and we do about 4,000 coaching sessions a year. So we have a really great group of coach, and we're very selective about who we bring on. It's very easy. The clients go to their admin, it's a demo account, and maybe I want to invite, I don't know, Megan to a coaching session. Sorry, Megan. And I'm going to select the 1-hour case coaching with an English-speaking coach, and I'm going to send. Megan will receive that invitation. She will just be able to schedule a session, and you in Career Services will be able to see each of the invitation you sent, whether the session is booked or the invitation has not been used. And once the session has been completed, you get a feedback in real time about the session. What's the potential? How well prepared was the student? How motivated she is? And then you have the details on each of the dimensions of the case. So you can really start identifying who are your best student in that pool. And obviously the student get the same feedback, both verbally and in writing. So that's it. That's it with CaseCoach. You will find us as an exhibitor, and if you click there, you can send an email, and I will be happy to give you a tour. And if you have any question, let me know. All good? Cool. Well, I'm ready to let the next exhibitor present. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Andron. We appreciate you. And next up, we have